Not
Anyway.
about what I was about to talk about.
Yeah, live. We're not going to talk about what we were talking about. That's all there is to it.
Oh dear.
Not going to happen. Just to say, meatball doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
That's simple.
I'm fine. I've had my violence and my biscuits for the morning. I'm good.
Have you? You're all. You woke up, chose violence.
I woke up, chose violence. No, I didn't chose violence. Violence chose me.
That kid I was just telling you about, Russ. That kid I was just telling you about. He was scary. He was
some people
was
are just
scary kid. He was only 15 or so, and he just lost it.
You can see the difference between those people that are up for a fight and those people who are just talented. There's talented mat fighters and then there's brawlers, and they're two different things.
Well, he lost the basic fundamentals of karate too. It's not about strength; it's about control.
But he stopped doing the karate moves. He started punching and kicking, and
he lost control. Yeah.
There's
always fun.
You see a lot of there's like a world karate thing now where it does kind of get into a little bit of a brawl. And at the end of the day, you got to do what works. And sometimes certain strains of karate can be almost too formal, and you need to be able to adapt and make things work. So when people say, "Oh, karate doesn't work in the street," it's like your average, restricted, disciplined karate is going to help you in the street,
right?
But it could succumb to a street fighter, because you don't want to be too rigid. Karate isn't just about sitting within those rigid guidelines. It's about learning new techniques. It's about opening yourself up. And the association and the club that I work with, we get all kinds of different people in from MMA, from Kung Fu, and all kinds of stuff. And we do mat work, floor work as well as mat work. And the idea is that you keep yourself open. If you make karate a broad church like that, then actually it is incredibly useful when you need it. So, but you must be disciplined and you must be respectful. Otherwise, you can leave.
Yeah. Never once have you awarded anyone the plaid or paisley belt.
For martial arts, you definitely should learn how to defend yourself even against a street fight for sure. Like if you're going to get into situations where you're in, the formal training is one thing, but eventually you're going to encounter somebody with pocket sand.
Exactly. Yeah, you've got to be aware. It's something that I've sort of used within the Comic Book Black Belt brand on my YouTube channel. The idea being that my art and my karate are very similar. Is that you learn the basics. You get for in karate up the Q grades up until you get your first black belt. The karate is shaping you. So much like that in the art, when you're doing sequential art, you've got to be shaped by having good solid background like anatomy, scene selection, get yourself in, make sure you're picking out emotions and things like that. And then once you step over those basic levels, not that you've mastered them, but you understand them and they're not shaping you anymore, then you shape your art and you start going in different places. And it's the same with karate. Once you get past the first black belt, you start shaping your own form. And it's almost like everybody's got their own style of karate because it forms to the way that they work and mentally and physically.
That applies to life as well, doesn't it? You get all your peers around you and your parents and your brothers and sisters, and you do this and you do that and you don't do that. And then all of a sudden, when you're 18, 19, you've got a grasp and you
start working it out.
Being yourself. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. There's lots of lessons, lots of life lessons in martial arts. I don't ever like people going, "Oh, that martial art's rubbish," or "that martial art," unless of course it's McDojo and the people are really just awful. But styles, you shouldn't really you shouldn't compare other styles because they've all got something. And for instance, the karate that I do has a lot of Korean aspects. It's got some Taekwondo in it, but the whole thing started from Chinese boxing. So it's all just a mess, and there's only so many ways that you can move your limbs, unless you've got hyperextension. Of course, I've seen a few of those people.
There's a book called The Unfettered Mind by Tako and Soho, which talks about. It's a book I recommend not just to martial artists, but also anybody in the arts or doing anything that's a profession that requires repetition, to get to a point of creativity and originality, which is what I think the point of martial arts is.
Mm-hmm.
It's a combination of tricking your opponent up, in a creative way. Right?
Yeah.
So you can get your strikes in. It's not moving in a straight line so much as going from point A to point B is the fastest way possible, even if you have to stop in the center,
Yeah.
So a book called Unfettered Mind, Taekwondo So, talks about the states of no mind, so that you can you train to get to the point where you can just react without thinking about it, and your mental state is clear because your mind stops at certain points. And if your mind stops, it takes longer for you to react to something and interrupts the flow of, if you apply that to arts, that's creativity, right? If you're thinking too much about one thing, then you're doing the work.
A guy I worked with did martial arts, and he said the best thing you've got is your feet and your legs. Run away.
Run away
From a situation.
If you've ever got a choice, don't get
out of there. Yeah.
Get out of there.
Well, I saw a video yesterday, a CCTV video of a thug that tried to mug an 80-year-old man, but the 80-year-old man knew boxing. So after a couple of bops, the old man standing here like this, going, "Come on." And the thug's like, and just runs off.
Nobody ever hit me like that, which is why I'm a thug.
Exactly. Anyway, here's the opening, folks.
Yay.
Come on in, folks. It's Sunday Funnies. It's Sunday, the 25th of June, 2023, and we're here to talk comics. So come on, or try to talk comics. Come on in.
Is it warm? Is it warm where you are, Randy?
It's extremely warm, yes,
but
it's
warm
good
here as well.
Yeah, I was sweltering.
It's a dry heat.
Ours is not a dry heat. We're surrounded by lakes here in Michigan, so it's far from dry, but. I was separating a large shirt order yesterday in my garage with no air conditioning or anything like that. Just sweating like a beast.
I've got a fan. No, I don't have fans.
I've got a fan, but they're not even in this
fan.
Your only fan is
my only fan. Only fan. My only fan is sitting in here right now, looking at me.
Pound a week.
You're not productive unless you look like James Brown on stage mid-performance.
Yeah.
How he slides, I don't know.
I know, it's fantastic, isn't it?
His feet sweat. That's how he slides.
Slip sliding away.
Oh dear. Bullshit. That's to be prepared, kids. That's what you're getting today.
We're just past the 8-minute mark, so that was safe. Anyway,
that was good. Yeah,
it's all good. Come on in, folks. Sunday Funnies. I'm your host, Randy Zimmerman. I've been doing this for a long time. Glenn's been doing this for a long time. Russ has been doing this for a long time. And Whiskey's just new to all of this, so we'll see how it goes. I was left to my own devices, so the only theme I could really come up with, because we've been discussing some comics, oddball, strange comics over the last few episodes. I thought we'd talk about some absurd comics, and I pulled out some comics, some books from my collection of different bits of sequential art, not necessarily superheroes. Some of them aren't, but
well, because I'm late and I don't have a note from my mum, I didn't get my books ready, so I'm just going to nip off and go get some.
You're going to go get some oddball books. I have a copy of DR and Quinch, so don't worry about that.
Oddball comics.
I know that's his favorite odd comic. One we will probably look at in a lot more closely in the very near or far future, depending upon how long it takes us to go through Watchmen and a few other things. I have the omnibus.
Oh, look at
that I got from Ollie's of the Just Imagine stories.
Oh.
Where Stan Lee, whose documentary I actually sat through yesterday.
What was it like?
Well, that's a whole nother show.
Right.
But no, it might, maybe not. That the title of our show is absurd. We might be able to discuss it. Yeah. Anyway, There was a period of time where Stan Lee wasn't contracted under Marvel, so DC hired him to recreate all of their characters.
Oh, nice drawings by Stan Lee, aren't they?
So that, great drawings by Stan Lee. But the reason why we might want to go over it in Comics by Night is because it's got all of these big people in it. It's got Joe Kubert, it's got Jim Lee, John Buscema, Dave Gibbons, Kevin McGuire, Jerry Ordway, John Byrne, Gary Frank, Scott McConnell, I believe it is, Chris Bachalo, Simonson, and John Cassidy, and more.
Wow, so sounds good. Let's do that now.
everybody got a I'd have to rearrange my room here in order to show it proper, but everybody got a script from Stan. Stan sat down and recreated all of the main Marvel characters and just went crazy with it. So, and it's I haven't sat and read it yet, but anyway, the documentary.
Is it a new book? Is it a new book?
It's not new. They did this a couple years ago, back when Stan was under contract and still had most of his faculties.
Right.
I mean, let me check the print date on it. I mean, I got it at Ollie's because they overprinted the thing. I can't see the 1999.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, okay.
That's when it was done. But they put it all together. They stick it out at Ollie's, and the price was on the cellophane wrapping of it, but I'm pretty sure I picked it up for $19.99.
Wow.
Pretty sure.
So when you were saying about the Stan Lee documentary.
The documentary was interesting because they knew that they were going to go up against a couple of walls, and they tried to address it as best as they could, but they used the majority of it was recording of Stan Lee because there's so much of it out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was done. He got a lot more educated the farther along in his life he got. And towards the end, he had a better grasp as to exactly, he got a little bit more empathetic, especially towards Ditko and Kirby. But in the meantime, they went through and used a lot of these snippets about what he thinks a creator is. That is just, you sit there and you go, nah, that's not quite the way it works, Stan. And of course, it was a pro Stan Lee documentary, of course, because it was all about Stan. They missed a couple of points in there that didn't make him look good. You know, and the whole thing was a Stan Lee love fest in order for the newbie to understand how great this creator was. But they did try, kind of backhandedly, to give a little bit more credit to Kirby and Ditko, especially when they tried to explain the Marvel process, and that Stan had started out writing a lot of this stuff and then had narrowed down to just plotting the stuff, and then it narrowed down to what do you want to do that, click on the phone, you know.
Yeah.
So
have them meet God,
basically. But it was interesting to watch because there's a couple of really hard time skips in there that they really gloss over a lot of the hard time. Speaking of meeting God. How you doing, Scott?
Hey.
Thanks for joining us, man.
Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not commit. Thou shalt not take thy neighbor's lawnmower. Thou shalt not.
Damn it, I turned my back for 5 minutes and Rosema turns up.
Yeah, there you go.
It was your substitute. You were nearly kicked off the team there, Russ.
You don't block the door. Anybody can just walk right in.
Jeez. We've picked up a new kid named Whiskey, too, Scott, while you were gone.
What's that?
Oh, yeah. Hey,
we picked up a new kid named Whiskey while you were gone.
Oh, okay.
So.
Speaking of whiskey, I got a drinking problem.
Please don't drink me.
You got to go get something to drink. I have coffee and I have lemonade, so I have no drinking problem at all.
I only turn into a liquid state for some people.
Yeah.
So Scott's been around for a while. Anybody who hasn't, who is not familiar with Scott Rosema, he's got a long rap sheet as well.
If you don't know about me, you're lucky. But
don't you know who I am?
Yeah. You don't know who Rosema is. Don't bother. All right, just don't bother. It's too important.
What's that?
So if you don't know who you are by now, they should just walk away.
Yeah.
We were talking the Stan Lee documentary, but the topic of today's show is the absurd. I'm sure that's why you showed up.
Exactly. It'd be the same without me. Say the least.
Did somebody mention absurd? Poof, I've got to be here.
And for sure, I decided I was going to wear my emperor hood so I can.
As well, you should, because it keeps the shine down.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like glint. Oh,
that's why we all wear hats.
That's what we wear hats. Yeah,
to keep the shine down.
Save having to wax it off.
Actually,
yeah,
exactly. I'm gonna fix my lighting. I'll be back in a second.
Well, we didn't mean to chase you out, but
who's going to start then?
Oh, I already did. While you were gone, I was showing.
Sorry, what did you show?
Well, we've just covered 10 books while you were away, Russ.
I heard you say DR and Quince, which means that I'm kind of in the right. I haven't.
No, I told you. I'm
kind of in the right place. So
probably out of your earshot that I had a copy of DR and Quince. Yeah. But I was showing off the Just Imagine Stan Lee omnibus.
Oh, that's bonkers. I want that now.
Stan went through and recreated the entire DC universe because he was between contracts at the time, and
I'd love to have that.
They went through and had all these. They called everybody on the phone and said, "Stan's writing a DC book. You want the script?" And they weren't turned down by anybody. So John Byrne's in it, Jim Lee's in it, Joe Kubert's in it.
Wow, what a list already!
Dave Gibbons is in it. Walt Simonson is in it.
John Buscema's in it.
John Buscema's in it.
Oh. Didn't he do Superman? Didn't he do the version of Superman?
Yes. Buscema drew that part.
Sure.
Because I've got those pages in black and white.
Batman's Joe Kubert. So
cool.
Very cool stuff.
Oh. Yeah, it's very interesting stuff. Gene Colan is in it. At least it looks like Gene's work. Who did he do? No, maybe not. No, that's definitely Gene. Gene Colan? No, maybe not. Did a couple pages at least.
I've got a few Eastman and Laird books.
Anyway, everybody's in this. I didn't pull Turtles, but they are absurd.
No, I've got one Turtles book, but I've got this one, which is quite cool.
I'm blowing you up. There you are.
Melting Pot.
Oh yeah.
And this is mostly just art. But it's got some great stuff in it. Got to watch out for the boobies. There's some really nice designs in there. I think the boobies are on the next. Oh no, it must be the next page. Beautiful stuff.
Nothing sells better than monsters and boobies.
Monsters and boobies. Gotta love monsters and boobies. There's the boobies. There's the boobies.
Especially monstrous boobies.
Monstrous boobies.
Yes.
Oh, more boobies. Sorry, can't have that. There's some color stuff there. So it's just lovely artwork, and then some color stuff as well.
Yeah.
And it was all just really odd. I just found it really odd at the time. This is great. Look at that.
There you are. Yeah.
And it was just really odd stuff at the time because Eastman and Laird were kind of drawing in a slightly different way to what everybody else. There's also some thumbnails of some comic book stuff they were doing as well.
A true melting pot.
Yeah.
Oh, I take that back. I didn't. I thought I had grabbed my DR and Quinch, and I didn't. So
this is absolutely brilliant. I love this. I love this little book. Yeah. I don't draw anything like this. This has no effect on me from a visual perspective whatsoever. I just love the book. I just think it's a great book. There you go. That's my first one.
Well, the more you look at it, the more influence it'll have on you.
Probably. Yeah.
We're looking at odd comics, right? Is that that's the theme here?
Yeah.
Obscurities. I mean, it's comics. What qualifies as an odd comic?
Well, see, comics nowadays are this. Everybody strives for realism and trying to take a real slice of life from the realistic, and there's so many great comics out there. Turtles is a prime example that just veer away from all of that and say, "Screw it, we're here to entertain." That's really, we want to do the obscure or even make a point, but do it in an obscure way.
Just the art in itself is weird, just the way that they drew back then. That nobody else was doing this kind of stuff, really.
Everybody had their own individual style. Nobody was trying to imitate next guy.
It's innovative, it's brilliant stuff. And it's like at the time, sort of, early 90s, very early 90s. I know this is late 80s, early 90s. We had some fantastic artists knocking about. And obviously, Jim Lee was on the verge of being the greatness that he became.
Yeah.
And so you could look at stuff like that, but then you had this mad turtle stuff as well. And it was just so innovative and brilliant. I loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Well, it's like back in the 40s, they had a book called Super Snipe that was about a kid that loved comics and always saw himself as this big, muscular comic book hero, would run around in his red underwear with the flap in the back and put a towel around his neck and go out superheroing. But in my opinion, one of the most absurd comics that were ever done was the Atomic Knights.
Oh, nice.
And I love describing this. This is a horribly printed book. It's got a beautiful binding, hardback binding on it, but it's got this atrocious newsprint printing in it. And it's literally after the Holocaust, where a group of scientists run around in a radiation deflecting armor, riding large mutated Dalmatians.
That's amazing.
Look at that brilliant. Look at those word balloons on there. One guy says those strange plants emitting an eerie blackness that's spreading over the entire earth, and the other guy says we've got to destroy the plants by burning them. And then the other bad guy goes, we cannot allow the atomic knights to destroy the secret weapon we are using. Absolutely genius. You don't need to read the comic now.
Are they moles?
It's just classic stuff.
Randy, are they moles?
Yes. Yeah, they're little. They're
blue.
They're not just moles, dude. They're blue moles.
That's fantastic.
They're the worst kind, aren't they? Blue moles.
Oh, yeah.
Blue moles. An amazing Atomic Knights adventure when the Earth blacked out.
Especially when they've got human hands.
Yes.
Not only that, but look at the artwork here. The artwork's by Murphy Anderson, who's probably one of the best inkers ever in comics.
Yeah.
It's cracking stuff.
I had a blue mole once. I had it removed. So
there you go. Absolutely. Just some great oddball stuff as they fight radiated. They fight large plants that attack them. All in suits of armor.
It's wild.
That is crazy.
It's incredible stuff. But really imaginative. They started out in they were really a backup feature in Strange Adventures. That's that I liked, Murphy, best from Gardner Grail. Murphy Anderson convention sketch.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Murphy Anderson. Not real, but yeah. I've got Murphy's signature. I emceed a panel he was on one time.
Oh.
And got to talk to him for quite a bit. Yeah, he was amazing amazing person. It's all him on this, I believe. John Broom wrote the story, art by Murphy Anderson. There they are fighting a bunch of electrical creatures.
Rawr!
The lost city of Los Angeles.
I like the way that they're all standing on their tippy toes as well. That's great.
Yeah.
That looks like some villains you'd see out of the Space Ghost cartoon.
Yeah,
exactly.
Energy monsters. It's awesome.
Great.
You know how great somebody is when they combine with another artist and it becomes a standard.
Yeah.
Like when Kurt Swan pencils, Murphy Anderson inked, it became known as the Swanderson look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just, you know how great that is. It's got to be just phenomenal.
But when we talk absurd comics, I love telling people about this book because you get this look on their face like you're trying to describe curling to somebody from the South. The sport of curling.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
it's the same look. It takes place in the future where these guys have this suits of Victorian armor that deflect radiation. They ride around on large mutated Dalmatians the size of horses. What?
I love it.
Just fantastic.
The oddest comic I've got is that
OMAC.
Oh, the OMAC.
That's weird. That's just weird.
That's Kirby at his craziest too.
Yeah, in fact it's that weird. It's that weird. I only bought number 1.
What do you mean I can't draw Orion anymore? Screw you. I'm going to draw a person in a box.
Look at that.
What's going on?
There
was a film about that.
Pack it up, ship it out. That's what it is.
Well, then he does that, and it's like,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
So
one-man army corps.
Yeah, it's weird. I didn't get it. I didn't get it at all. And then the only other odd one is that, which is obviously fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Kirby again, mainly, but still beautiful comic. And this is my actual issue from 1967. How about that?
Yeah.
Sweet. Wow.
So that's about all I've got.
I just love the inventiveness they had with the names, not Brand Ech. I mean, it's just awesome.
This is another Eastman and Laird. It's not theirs, but it's. I think it's from the same publisher, but it was just Nat Rat, the movie. So it's taking the mick out of Batman at the time, Batman '89.
Oh yeah.
But the artwork is beautifully comedic.
Yeah, it's fun.
Really nice stuff.
That's innovation. That's a Dave Campetti company. Yeah.
So it's Rat.
Yeah.
And a Nat. So he's Nat Rat. There he is at the bottom. Nat Rat with the glasses, with the Michael Keaton Bruce Wayne glasses on all the time, even when he's Nat Rat.
There's a videotape. There you are, kids.
Bonkers stuff. Videotape Nat Rat.
Shows you how old it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's
nice.
some lovely art at the end there.
Very reminiscent of the time.
So gorgeous.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff.
Very 90s.
Oh, innovation.
Yeah.
That was David Campetti's.
That's who it was. Yes,
Dave Campetti's company.
Yeah. But I just thought it was brilliant. Absolutely beautiful. I picked this up, and it was not the kind of thing that I was into at all.
They did some really nice quality products in there, Dave. Innovation
great.
Did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's so comedic and brilliantly drawn as well. Really nice stuff.
I have a book here that's got Kim Deitch, Hunt Emerson, Neil Gaiman, Dave Gibbons, Steve Gibbons, Graham Higgins, Julie Hollings, Dave McKean, Matt Matthews, Alan Moore, Arthur, and I think Alan Moore actually did some drawing in this.
What a name.
Arthur Ranson, Peter Rigg, and Donald Room in it, entitled let me blow myself up here. Outrageous Tales from the Old Testament.
Oh God.
Human sacrifice, murder, wrath of God, cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
Deadly tent pegs.
Judges, kings, and prophets.
Enormous boils.
And just incredible underground style stuff, all retelling stories directly from the Old Testament.
Had to be a British product.
Oh my
God.
That looks like something the Monty Python would do.
Oh yeah.
You know.
I'm a huge fan of Hunt Emerson's work, and he had another absurd book. I've got in my rack here. It take me a while to find it.
I reckon you can draw a direct line from Monty Python's Flying Circus to 2000 AD.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I have no doubt.
I'm sure you can. I'm sure Pat Mills would admit to that too. Yeah.
The vein,
without a doubt. The
vein of Britishness within our humor and our comics is just so obvious. It's it is unique to us. It's
so Whiskey's got a copy of Super God up there by Warren Ellis. And
this is a comic, speaking about gods and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's I would say it's an obscure book because it's not really like it's superheroes, but it like explores the premise. If you actually made superheroes and made these like living gods, are they actually going to do what you want them to do and save the world, or they're just going to screw everything up? And this is kind of what it goes through.
They're going to kick back, eat popcorn, and get started.
Knowing Warren Ellis, they screwed everything up.
So. Who's that guy? He looks like that guy on Doctor Who, doesn't he? Looks like that guy on Doctor Who.
He looks like the
Living Tribunal.
The Marvel guy, the Living Tribunal.
Living Tribunal.
Yes.
Nice drawing.
This is one of the gods in the book where they were trying. It's sort of like a happy accident, I guess, if you call it a happy accident. So they sent 3 astronauts into space to explore some whatever thing hit by like some sort of cosmic rays, and instead of becoming like the Fantastic Four to become this fused together, alien mycological mass of, some kind, and people start worshiping it like a god. But it just it goes downhill from there in the book, right?
Yeah,
downhill as far as
just gets crazier from there.
Yeah.
He could use some skin lotion, that's for sure.
Yeah, something.
Absolutely.
Legs.
It looks like one of those trees in the woods, doesn't it, with mushrooms growing out of them, or when a fungus growing out.
Yeah.
Great drawing.
That Testament Tales, Brandy, that reminds me of John Cleese had a bit one time where he said that they were going to do a bit about what if they had weather forecasters at typical time.
Okay.
He said on Sunday locusts will descend, and on Monday, and on Wednesday boils.
On Friday, giant frogs. So I gotta say giant frogs. Yeah.
Got a cold front of giant frogs sweeping through. Dogger Bank. I've got this one. This is Caliber. God knows when this is going back away. This was just weird. I think I found the artwork a bit odd as well.
Caliber did a lot of oddballs.
Yeah, this is Mechanoids. That's what this one is.
Oh yeah.
Just weird stuff in here. Just like it freaked me out a bit.
That is, I believe, Mark Winfrey.
Yeah,
artwork.
But I picked it up.
It looks like Mark's work.
Yeah.
Mark Winfrey started out doing System 7 for Arrow Comics, which is a superhero title.
There you go.
Yeah.
So it's just like, all the...
Oh, my.
We're seeing all text pages right now because Mechanoids was tied into a role-playing game.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Back in the day. So that was bonkers.
Yeah.
That was a weird little one as well. There you go.
And Russ, do you have your monkey's ass pointing towards us on your microphone?
Monkey's ass.
That's right.
There you go. I'll just turn him around so you got the monkey's nose.
Well, that's.
I keep meaning to clip that video of lizard people. I haven't done it yet. So.
I got one that's gonna beat even the Old Testament one.
All right,
go on.
I'm blowing it up.
Okay. American Bungalow.
Okay.
There we go. And it's got all kinds of really neat, articles on.
It's an ad
on different
bungalows.
Envelope, all the.
That's not a comic at all.
Just kick him out, will you? Kick him.
It's just wonderful, beautiful stuff.
Kick him out.
Oh wait,
he's just taking the minute,
right? Oh shoot, I'm so.
He's just taking the minute.
Obviously, you've been shopping for a bungalow, huh?
All right, I'm going to show you my last one.
Speaking of bungalows,
show off that DR and Quinch too, because I don't have my copy in front of me here.
So this one is by Les Humanoids Associes.
Who the heck? Yeah.
Oh, it's Dark Horse. So there you go. This one is really quite odd. Nosferatu.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
And it's like if Nosferatu was lonely on a dead planet. It's just it's like some of that art there. Look,
that was back when you knew that you were going to pull down, especially Dark Horse was going to pull down 1,000 or 2,000 on just anything.
Yeah.
So
and this is great.
The more obscure, the better. Yeah.
It's really soulful and sad. And then you get the action in the end. Again, some like really innovative.
It's got to be a European artist.
Yeah,
on that.
Yeah, I would say it was. Yeah, well, it was French, I think.
Okay.
Just
one of my favorite anthologies from Dark Horse was Cheval Noir, and it always carried the most unique, beautiful artwork with the hardest to follow stories. And this is just phenomenal stuff.
Weird,
though. Yeah,
and the graphic.
Oh, that's Droulet. Yeah, of course. Yeah,
and it's just fantastic stuff. Just absolutely loved.
Yeah, famous French artist.
Again, not stuff that I would normally pick up, but they jumped off the shelf, and it's like, I've got to have that because
anything by Droulet, you can't help it. That's so attractive. I mean, you're just
there we go. I'll get the DR and Quince out for you.
Yeah, pull out the DR and Quince.
Oh, those are.
Got to tell people about it though.
DR and Quince was in 2000 AD, and was basically these alien teenagers, anarchists.
The only way you could describe them,
no goods that would just go around and do whatever they liked, and they'd turn up on Earth and just pretend to be UFOs, like it's and the artwork is sublime. Just
Alan Davis,
look at that, Alan Davis
at the peak of his form,
doing his thing.
Yep,
beautiful stuff. Look at the aliens he's got going on there. That guy at the top there,
just awesome.
Just crazy stuff.
A few more incredibly funny stories as well. Yeah, proper British humor. Excellent stuff.
And I believe Rebellion has reprinted that, so it's available over on Amazon. And we can't recommend it highly enough.
Buy it.
Oh yeah,
love it.
Did Davis write that too?
That's great.
Pardon?
Did Davis write that also?
Oh no, that was written by some unknown called Alan Moore.
Yeah.
Moore.
Way back when. Yeah.
No
brilliant stuff.
That's something we can go through on a comics by night rather easily. Yeah.
What's his name here? Famous actor.
Some kid off the street.
By the waterfront, on the waterfront.
Marlon Brando.
Marlon Brando. So like this alien that's got a Marlon Brando face. Bonkers, and he's like this awesome. tortured actor. Fantastic stuff.
Just great.
Wow.
Reminds me a little bit about.
And there's Clive James, Glenn.
Yes.
Clive
James. I can see him. Yeah. What are you saying, Whiskey?
I was saying it reminds me a little bit about the artwork is very reminiscent of the heavy metal movie back in the day.
Very much so.
Yeah. But that's
got a lot of that influence running through it.
So there was a lot of humor in 2000 AD, even when you weren't expecting it. Yeah. There was a lot of very dark humor, but that was out and out a comedy scenario. Do you know what I mean?
Political though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that strip was definitely all out comedy. That was what it was after being. Yeah. Whereas something like Judge Dredd, you could laugh at, even though it wasn't. Well, it was a joke a minute.
I always thought that Judge Dredd was a political satire.
Yeah. Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It was, and that shows you how good Pat Mills' writing and the other guys' writing was, because it was different layers, wasn't it? Kids could read it and it was good, and then we could read it as adults and it was that's a bit cheeky putting that in, and all that kind of stuff. But excellent.
It's the kind of genius subtlety that people don't get anymore.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
It said a lot, and it did a lot, and it entertained a lot.
Yeah. What it did was it didn't say something was right. It gave you all the questions.
Yeah.
So like the fact that Judge Dredd, he's the hero. He's also a fascist. Okay, did you just put judges out on the street and they can just kill people at will because they've broken the law? No retribution, nothing. And yet he's the hero. Trial, You're always on Judge Dredd's side. Yep. Okay, so the whole thing was like this sort of horrible anarchy, and yet it was a fantastic strip drawn by some of the best artists ever, and there was subtlety in it. It was asking you the questions. It was saying what's right about this, what's wrong about this. Who are the good guys? Who aren't the good guys? And people just don't get that. Not currently. We're not seeing that currently. I think it will come back, but we're not seeing it currently.
And it's really kind of too sad, very sad, because nowadays here in America, sometimes we have things like that happen. Cops just killing people.
But it's not. But
not just that, but we have that level of absurdity all the time on the nightly news anymore.
Exactly.
You sit there and you go, "Really? What?"
You never hear both sides of any story anymore, because someone will always use one side to their advantage.
Yeah.
So and that's what entertainment and creativity like 2000 AD did. They taught Gen X. Okay, they taught Gen X that the world is not black and white. That was the whole point. That was the whole point.
For our audience here in the States, if you haven't seen 2000 AD, there's a great documentary, I think, on Amazon Prime right now called Future Shock. Go over there and take a look at it. There are huge collections over on Amazon of the individual properties like Judge Dredd, Strontium Dog, Rogue Trooper, Robo Hunter, that are amazing. You will not regret buying any of those, because it's all just incredibly high entertainment. Just great stuff. You take the undergrounds from the 60s, you take the Marvel era from the 60s and 70s, you take Monty Python, you put them in a big pot, you stir it up and throw in a bunch of science fiction, and that's pretty much 2000 AD.
Yeah. Stick in a bit of Hammer horror as well. You're done.
Yeah, a little Hammer horror. Yeah,
who was mostly what did Judge Dredd have a regular artist for a long time, or was he worked on?
No, it was always multiple artists. Carlos Esquerra was the first one to draw, wasn't it? His creation.
Yeah. He's credited. Him and Pat. I think Pat Mills are credited.
For me personally, the best was Brian Bolland.
Gotcha. Absolutely.
Yeah. But Carlos Esquerra was fantastic. So was
the best Esquerra was Strontium Dog, though. Yeah.
Ron Smith.
Ron Smith,
Mike Mahone.
I enjoyed Cam Kennedy's work because I love Cam Kennedy, especially on Rogue Trooper.
Brett Ewins had a go at it. Everyone had a go at it. So.
We have a few new comments, gentlemen. You got
I've been ignoring the chat.
Just to finish off, Carlos Esquerra on Johnny Alpha. Strontium Dog is it's in a league of its own. Yeah, it's just fantastic.
That's a property somebody's going to end up doing one of these days in the movies, and everybody will be shocked. And where did this come from?
No, they'll just change it all, won't they?
You see a couple of YouTube videos up there of fan movies to show what could be. It's just Esquerra's just got such amazing line work and such an individual style to his stuff that you just can't go wrong with anything that he did. There's a Stainless Steel Rat compilation available over on Amazon. Strontium Dog's got a number of reprint books, and they're all really well done.
I really wish I'd picked up the Strontium Dog ones.
Well worth it. The big thick volumes are good, but they're printed on newsprint, but you still see all of the line work because it's designed for that kind of inexpensive printing.
And Strontium Dog
2000 AD was.
Yeah, Strontium Dog started off in Star-Lord.
Yes.
So when they combined Star-Lord. So all the guys in the ABC Warriors, that was actually a spin-off from I can't remember the name.
Robusters.
Robusters, that's it. Jaws and Hammerstein, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they used to go around and sort of clean up messes. With who was the big guy? Who was the earthquake one? The one that used to chew everything up.
Was that Quake? I thought his name was Quake.
I can't remember his name. Wrong. He was just thick as two short blanks. He couldn't speak properly, but he used to just eat everything up.
Robusters, all of the characters were robots. And you had a really large Hammerstein who was an old warrior soldier robot, and you had a garbage eater Rojaws who was a little almost like a trash can with teeth.
He was Danny DeVito as a robot, wasn't he? He was hideous. And he loved eating crap. It was a great strip. Yeah. No, it was really good. And then when they moved on and showed Hammerstein's past in ABC Warriors, that was genius. It was just brilliant. You know, it was
another collection of really great robots. They created a team of robots to go in the wars where the humans couldn't go because of radiation or biological problems.
Book one, ABC Warriors.
Give me a second to blow that up here.
So this is Mike Mahone, I think, on this. But that one's
Warriors.
That one's Brenda McCarthy, who did a few of them.
God, look at that.
But that first one would be Kevin O'Neill, is it?
Looks like Kevin O'Neill. Yeah.
Look
definitely.
At that.
Oh. just phenomenal stuff.
Phenomenal, yeah. There you go, more stuff. Excellent stuff.
That looks like something you might have seen something like that in the Warren magazines, creepy and eerie and stuff.
Yeah.
So not like, I wouldn't call it an oddball, but although you could say that everything in 2000 AD was a bit oddball.
Pretty absurd here and there.
Yeah. I couldn't believe when I come across copies here in the States. It was just bizarre. And loved every second of it. And now, without having prepared for the show, which is what I do, I did come across my pile of comics here. This Blanc comic.
Oh yeah,
and I love what it says on the cover.
You're gonna have to read it because we can't.
Hi, I'm Gronk. Do you like kitties?
Not like as pets, not to eat. I'm not that kind of monster.
unlike Alf.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just and it's fairly, it's fairly, safe kids fare inside,
Oh,
but it's nice. Just, just
Good
one
colors.
of those weird little comics you picked up on Free Comic Book Day. I never saw the whole series, but it's just one of those, it's one of those kind of comics that you see it and I got to get that.
Yeah.
Now, one of the oddest books, though,
Ephraim's in the house. Ephraim, how you doing? Brad's in the house. Good morning, Brad. Thanks for listening.
Hey, Brad.
Brian's in the house. I think Dredd hit the hardest popularity-wise, but Strontium Dog Rogue Trooper, well worth the read as well. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
There was a Rogue Trooper game for the PS2, but they redid it recently. Okay, go ahead, Scott.
I was going to say, it's not so much odd, but it's one of the most unique comics, and that is classic Will Eisner Spirit. I mean, but there were so many just bizarre storylines in it. I mean,
I
think you can say, it had bizarre stuff in it, didn't it?
Oh yeah. And it was just, of course, masterful storytelling and artwork, just phenomenal.
Always the best, yeah.
And and these kitchen sink reprints were just great to see.
Yeah.
Especially when they would add the color like they did to it. So it's really just
and you might be able to find those in the dollar bins or in the reading copy long boxes at your shows too.
Oh, I know, and it's such a shame because these things should be valued by everybody. But it's just
DC did an archive set, and I think we looked at one here at a Sunday Funnies not too long ago. Sunday Funnies are comics by night. That the archive set is unbelievable. There's 26 volumes of the entire run, plus the oddball stuff he did afterwards, plus all the covers for the Spirit magazine reprint books. So, But when we're talking absurd here, if you can't mention that anymore. Talking about absurd without covering Milk and Cheese.
Oh yes,
yes, the false comics.
Dairy products gone bad.
That's great.
They hate what you hate, and they hate you.
Yes, that's right.
That's just another name for lactose intolerance.
That's it. That's it exactly. Dairy Products Gone Bad by Evan Dorkin. There's an entire volume out from Dark Horse, and they are packed with prettiness and anarchy. It's the only way to describe it.
It's bonkers, isn't it?
It's a carton of milk, a pint carton of milk, and a slice of cheese out to avenge the world.
That's awesome.
Jesus Christ, all milk.
Jesus Christ, all
Jesus Christ.
That's too good.
The baby cheeses.
Truth or Dare. Short stories, single or sometimes 3 pages, 4 pages. I don't think they did a larger than that, where they find a topic and then they decide to go smash it. Darth Vader Overdrive. We're both Darth Vader.
You wouldn't get away with that now, would you? Cease and desist. Cool.
Oh
I doubt. It's all parody here. So,
yeah.
Here comes cruelty.
Cruelty for all.
Isn't the artwork fantastic?
Those faces remind me of a little bit of Savage Dragon.
They remind me of MODOK.
Yeah, MODOK.
We only harm the stupid.
The phone book is our hit list. It's idiot filled.
Jeez.
When is that from, Randy?
70s.
70s. This book belongs to Milk and Cheese. That's not 70s. I think it starts in 88 to 89.
All right, okay.
That's 80s.
80s and 90s in there. They did a whole series of collections here.
Only harm the stupid.
That's fantastic, isn't it?
God made us funky.
Look at that. Milk and Cheese, the second issue.
Yeah.
Milk and Cheese Society is to blame.
Oh, brilliant!
Who's the creator behind that?
Evan Dorkin.
Evan Dorkin. No kidding.
Believe he went on to do a bit of work for Cartoon Network.
That's
Does
not
he
a
write?
surprise.
Does he write and draw it?
Yes, it's all him.
Right.
Small press sales blitz. I'm sure it was very therapeutic for him for a number of years. That's
I
the
think
only way
I'm
to
going to
describe
adapt that phrase as my own personal motto.
We only harm the stupid.
Here we go.
What a great book, folks! It's a hardback. It's phenomenal. It's Dark Horse Books. It retailed for $21.99.
Wow!
So at the time, but that was probably back in the early teens, 2010. I would imagine I've had it for a little while. I keep meaning to catch him at a show and have him sign it because it's I just appreciate the work that much.
Oh yeah.
I
have another innocuous, harmless comic. Most of the stuff gets picked up at Free Comic Book Day.
2011. So you might still find it on Dark Horse or on Amazon. I don't know.
But this had a great title.
To keep recommending Amazon, they don't pay us to do anything. So
yeah. Is Cleopatra in space? Wow.
Yeah.
It's just, bizarre stuff. I mean, and it's literally just that. It's Cleopatra gets abducted and she goes into space for adventures and all this. And it's just.
It looks like it's going into manga.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It's got a little hard manga influence to it.
Yeah, definitely. But it's just another little oddity, So again, perfect material for me.
Speaking of famous people, I've got one from Sirius that later became Dogstar by Jason Asala, about the let me flip back over here, about the troubled life of Poe.
Oh man,
it's like Frank Zappa, doesn't it? That guy.
That's a bit weird, isn't it?
That was a great comic. It was really super popular for about 6 months and then disappeared. But it's all about Edgar's adventures.
Wow.
In reality and pseudo reality.
I'm frightened and scared. That writer should be jailed.
Again, one of those great flashes of genius that few people know about. That was really good, absurd, sequential art that I really enjoyed the strip when it was out. He had a very unique style to his stuff. He was very inventive and very easy to read.
Wow.
I'm not even sure whatever happened to Jason, or I haven't seen him around in a long time, but I really enjoyed the book. I've got a picture of him of Poe in my sketchbook. I was able to catch him at a show.
So I got this. I got a book here. It used to be in my collection. On
Mask
there. Joker Mask 104. I bought the whole series a long time ago when I was a teenager, and I really liked the art style. It was kind of the story wise completely different from a lot of the darker DC stuff out there. And it was tells a story about the mix. What happens if the characters from the Mask join the DC universe and the Joker gets hold of it, and it was actually a really, really fun read at the time, but
wow,
kind of obscure in a sense where I don't see much movie crossovers into comics.
Well, Mask has really jumped into obscurity, in my opinion. That it was one of those properties that nobody, when they talk about comic book movies, mentions the Mask movie, and I think Mask was pretty true to the original property.
Oh yeah,
they couldn't have gotten anybody but Jim Carrey at that point to do it. So
yeah. And considering, and Jim Carrey made it, very entertaining. I mean, just Of course, he's always great to watch, but
nice, fun artwork. Looks like.
Unfortunately, I don't have a collection anymore, but it was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. The artwork was all right on the previous page, but I hate that Batman. Sorry.
Yeah, that right leg.
You're allowed to judge. I think
there's some weirdness going on there. I don't like that.
Nothing.
A lot of the anatomy is a little exaggerated and obscured throughout the whole thing, but it's
especially that girl on the cover.
Consistent.
Sorry, Whiskey. Go on.
I was just saying it's consistently bad. Like it. but they do it in a stylized way. Like you may not like the knee there, but for example, but it's just
I can guarantee you there's not one other knee that looks like that in the whole of the book.
Probably
right. Yeah. But what a knee it is. Anyway.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Randy, do I see on your spinner rack an issue of Bomba?
You do. I love this cover. This is one of my favorite covers of all times because it's so dynamic. It's so beautiful. Look at that. Here, let me take that out of the wrapper so that you can see it without the glare.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
Just amazing. I thought it was Nick Cardy, but it's somebody else that did the art, and I couldn't tell you who it is. Somebody told me, and once you looked at it, you realized it wasn't Cardy. But man, that layout sure does scream Cardy to me.
Oh boy, yeah.
You know, it really does. It's just so dynamic and so beautiful. And I've got a book of Cardy and the covers that he did that we'll cover in Comics by Night one of these days, real soon. But that's Bomba the Jungle Boy. Used to be a series of movies, I think. Movies or a TV show.
Oh yeah.
Let me see if I can find who did the interiors here. The Jaws of Doom.
Yeah, well, that cover really overshadows the interior, doesn't it?
It sure does. That cover sells it right there.
It's got
the
that
artwork
feel
doesn't
of
quite match it.
70s.
It looks like a Bill Everett type of penciling, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's just that cover though is just so much fun.
The cover's fantastic, yeah.
Genuine comics in the chat.
You know, I always kind of wonder. I think that they keep. I look at these books like that, and I keep thinking they really missed the boat by not doing just simple things like emphasizing certain words on the title of the book. That book should be Bomba, the Jungle Boy. It should be this big, huge Z. Yeah, that's like the biggest.
Well, this came out during the time that there were all sorts of jungle characters running around.
Oh yeah.
You know, Tarzan was super popular back in the 60s, late 50s.
Sniff, sniff.
Sniff, sniff. Sniff,
I'm afraid, yes, that is a genuine sniff, sniff.
Sniff, sniff.
Right there.
Sniff, sniff.
I'm not sure who did the artwork. There's no credit on here, but probably for a reason.
Probably.
That's harsh.
Anyway.
I thought I was being harsh with the knee, but that was really sticking the knife.
Just remember, Russ, we only harm the stupid. So,
but that's right. We only harm the stupid. But that cover is everything to me. I love it. That's why I have it back here on the rack.
Awesome.
We could do a whole episode just going through the rack, actually, because I've got a lot of oddball stuff sitting in here. So,
I've got my last oddball one, which everybody knows this. Swords of Cerberus.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's like,
I don't even pull out a Cerberus. I've got one of the phone book of the first 6 books here. Yeah, it's Cerberus. Absolutely
bonkers stuff. Great lighting. Look at that.
Oh yeah.
You know all about Cerberus up there in Canada, right, Whiskey?
No, I don't know anything.
Oh, wow. Isn't Dave Sim originally Canadian?
Oh yeah, he's very Canadian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very Canadian, eh?
Very old style Canadian, eh? Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Cerberus started out as a parody, much like Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles started out as a parody and picked on Daredevil. Cerberus picked on Conan.
Yeah.
And it turned into an
fantastic sequence.
It looks familiar.
It turned into an autobiography of Dave Sim's life as he went from barbarian waif to Pope.
Yeah, a great transition.
Great, yeah. Here's one I just pulled off my rack here.
Battle
for the three-dimensional world.
Yeah.
Was that Kirby?
It is all Kirby. Yeah.
3D glasses and everything. Yeah.
Kirby in 3D. Wow. Get your glasses on, kids. Here we go.
Oh yeah. I've got another couple. Hold on.
Jeez.
There's some absolute craziness. Actually, on there, it almost looks solid here.
Yeah.
You got to got to see how it's off center for a reason, because they had a pair of 3D glasses that made everything 3-dimensional. I don't have the glasses, unfortunately.
It could be a really good fun gimmick for a rehash.
Great stuff.
Back with something like that.
Yeah, it came back in the late 80s, early 90s for a while. So, yeah, it was great. Let's see who else I have here.
Didn't they develop a 3D system for full color comics?
Yeah, they did. They had a full color TV for a while that showed stuff in 3D. That didn't last very long.
Wow.
What about anybody know anything about Barry Ween, Boy Genius?
No.
By Judd Winnick.
Great artwork again.
Judd Winnick went on to do a lot of work for DC, but yeah, it's kind of an underground, not quite for kids story, but a boy genius.
Wow. That's great.
Probably predates shoot.
Image did this. Yeah.
The cartoon. What the hell?
Dexter's Lab? Yes.
Yeah, Dexter's Laboratory.
Dexter's Laboratory. Yeah, there's probably a lot of Dexter in this. It does have a giant gorilla.
Okay. Oh man.
You know it's going to sell now.
Oh yeah.
I got really close to being a cartoon show, from what I understand.
A program last night about Julius Schwartz, and he was talking about I don't know who it was now. Put a gorilla in it and started all that stuff in the 50s about gorillas being in comics. And Julius Schwartz was saying, "What the hell is this gorilla?" And he said, "Oh, it'll sell. Don't worry," and it did.
Yeah. They had Julie on a quick clip that he was on the Tom Snyder program with Stan Lee, and they really made him look grumpy and evil. Julie Schwartz.
Yeah. Oh, no kidding.
Wow. So he was sitting there about how comics should be entertaining, shouldn't have anything about real life in it. And Stan's sitting there just laughing at him, shaking his head, literally. Because at the time they were outselling Marvel 2-1. Or they were outselling DC 2-1. And Stan's like, okay.
Well,
Excelsior to you, Here's something to make you jealous. It took me a little while to find this book and get a hold of this book. It's a Showcase Presents, but it is The Great Disaster.
Wow.
Featuring the Atomic Knights.
This has got the Atomic Knights in it, yeah, but that's not why you wanted this book. You wanted this book for the sheer variety of people that was in it. It's got a couple of, it's all end of the world stories. So you've got, right off the bat, you get some Alfredo Alcala.
Oh, no kidding.
Just kicking major ass. Look at that.
Hold that up again.
Just kicking it hard.
Oh, Jesus.
They're all after the apocalypse stories, so of course they're going to include Atomic Knights because, got to try to explain that to folks. And that's a pretty large story. There's a number of stories with this Weehawken. Pre-disaster warnings. Weird War Tales. It's got The Day After Doomsday, more Weird War Tales, House of Mystery Stories, Strange Adventure Stories. That's the Atomic Knights run. It's got Hercules Unbound in it.
Oh, no kidding.
That is, yeah.
Isn't that Weehawk? Isn't that a Wally Wood property? Or am I thinking of something else?
The Hercules Unbound, though, is Wally Wood.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow, look at that.
So Wally Wood inks over top of somebody, and I think Wally might have drawn an issue or two of it as well. Let me see. This is Jose Luis. Oh, this is Jose Garcia Lopez and Wally Wood.
Oh, no kidding.
Look at that.
Jesus.
Just amazing.
Look at those legs. Aren't they fantastic?
Oh,
look at
man.
Wow.
Just Jose Garcia Lopez is just amazing anyway. And then to have a great inker like Wally Wood on top of him, it's just
oh yeah. Just the artist Garcia Lopez was. Oh man.
But this showcase volume was listed in Amazon, and then DC decided not to do it. And then I think Amazon came back and told them that they should do it. And everybody complained because it reprinted it's got all the Hercules Unbound and all of the Atomic Knight stories in it in the same place. And all of this phenomenal artwork at the front, like I showed you before by Alcala, and just great stuff.
Wow.
Oh man.
Look at the length of that guy's arms.
Yeah.
That's right up
Get
there
on
with
that.
some of
is that by Alex Nino? The art?
Some of O'Neill's, yeah, that's Nino right there. You can't
I like
see
that.
Jesus.
It's good stuff.
Just amazing.
It's a bit Wrightson as well, isn't it?
Art by Nino,
Oh, yeah.
a story by Jack Olick. Here's the next page.
Oh,
we covered
Bonkers.
Nino before. I forgot he was even in this book, or we'd have covered this story as well in our Nino episode, because this is just real classic stuff.
And Jack was amazing. He was an amazingly prolific writer.
Yeah,
he just did so much.
Just great stuff. It's a great volume. That's The Great Disaster. Showcase presents. Very difficult to find. I think I had to order this through Amazon in order to get a hold of it. But,
I would love to know who it was that very smartly decided to collect that up into a volume like that. Because
I don't know, but Didio kept the one time I talked to Didio and mentioned reprint editors. He said that he had a real rough time with them trying to get them to reprint stuff like this.
Wow.
So they always wanted to reprint the same stuff over and over again. And I said, there's so much other great material in there. You need to go through and reprint, all of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
That's where you get the most mileage out of all that great material. I mean,
it's all science fiction, mind-blowing stuff too. It's just great.
It may not be immediate sales right away, but it does open it up to a new audience, and that's where you get people interested in the material if they can't see it.
Do you want to see something that's so 1985 it hurts?
There we go.
Atomica Press.
Oh yeah, A1
Holland.
Lovely Bolland.
I
think is that the first appearance of the actress in the Bishop?
I think it is.
Actress in the Bishop.
Look at that.
1985, Atomica Press. Lovely typography. Look at that. I had a couple of great stories, some great art in there, and in particular,
it's worth it just for the cover.
There was some painted art that ended up being in black and white, which was great.
Nice.
And the actual Bolland strip was just amazing.
That's from Titan, isn't it? Titan Press.
Oh, hold it there for a second.
Printed that.
That's Boland's. Oh man, look at that.
Just so bloody
beautiful.
Good.
Yep. Just beautiful.
Yeah. I think that was before he did Killing Joke, was it?
Yeah. You might be right. Yeah, you're probably
Killing
right.
Joke was about 87, I think.
And you could see just how he was ramping up.
I
got a couple of really weird early 90s. 1990 Batman 3D.
Oh, I've got that. Yeah.
There you go.
Look at that, all those 3D. Look at that. It's great. And even in the back, I've still got the back glasses.
Awesome. That's cool.
So good.
And one last one from me, which was a real oddity, real weird thing, and it was like trying to capture the time. In actual fact, looking back at it, it's crap. But it was Batman Digital Justice, and I think they did everything in Photoshop. They painted everything in Photoshop, and it's god awful.
Oh God,
looks a little harsh there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
Oh yeah.
God.
Just rubbish.
Oh,
I don't like
that's
that.
That's like one step up from First Comics is attributed to doing the first computer comic called Shatter.
And quite a good cover.
And that looks like somebody got a hold of Minecraft and decided to do a comic.
Computer generated. Yeah. And then there's the 3D stuff on the back.
There you are.
That's just so 3D, isn't it?
Oh my God.
I think there's a big picture
before
they get sucked into. It's a bit Tronish. And that picture on top left, that's bloody awful. Look at that Batman there. Yeah. That was worse than the guy with the funny knee. But I'll see if I can find it with it.
I wonder what Pepe Marino's doing these days with
I don't know, but
computer.
There you go. That's the there you go. It's all a bit Lawnmower Man.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God!
The faceting on the Joker face, it just leaves a ball with didn't even add the extra polygons in. No, we're just gonna go with the lowest.
But those
back
ones,
then that was probably the highest whiskey.
That's right.
That was the high rung of the technology.
Those two books,
8 years to make.
Those two books reside on my support bookcase, my overflow bookcase. So this one's on proper bookcase.
Look, everybody's entitled to be an idiot.
Not brought traditionally.
I've got one here that Russ has seen, which you can see soon. Shameless plug.
Shameless plug.
That is an odd comic. I like it.
Odd book.
It is an odd book, and it's lovely.
It is.
and you can see it's coming out soon from New Haven. Just show you that last one there.
There we
That's
are.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's even got Neil and Buzz walking on the moon there. Can you see him? Near the Mr. Smile.
Yeah.
You got Thunderbird 2.
Yeah.
You got all sorts of stuff.
Oh, cool.
Mate, that fits in with the today's theme, because it is that kind of book. It is one of those books that you kind of go, have to look at it twice and go, wow, that's really good.
Yeah. And they were running that stuff about the submarine around the Titanic. I turned to the wife and I said, that was a job for Thunderbird 4.
I said
Without
that.
a doubt. Yeah.
Thunderbird 4 would have been there in an hour, but
Would've
still
been
would have been too late. So
at that point.
I just hope it. I just to be serious for a second, I hope it happened
quick,
immediately rather than 2 days later.
I'm pretty sure that's what it did. It just imploded.
Yeah, very, very quickly. So once you get a weakness at that depth, it's just and everything's just sucked in. So,
they
wouldn't have known about it. Bonk.
No.
That's it.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, I'm glad as well. Yeah, and to those people out there who think it's funny to abuse people just because they got a bit more money than you.
Yeah,
seems to be a running theme. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like in a year's time, joke. Because you got to get over these things and you have to laugh about them. But like immediately after,
it's funny though, because I'll tell you now. If I got the chance to go into space, I would. But if I got the chance to go down to the Titanic, I wouldn't. And
I'm totally with you.
Not because of that. Not because of that. I would never go down there.
No.
I saw a chart on a program the other day. Cameron, the director of Titanic and all that.
John Cameron.
He went down to the bottom of the Mariana Strait, which is 7 miles deep, which is twice the height of Everest and a bit more. And there's a chart, and it's something like, if you imagine that's the ocean top where we would be, it had all these nuclear submarines going down. Then it had the Titanic, and then Mariana Strait was right down there. Madness.
Something ridiculous.
Madness.
3.5 kilometers down or something.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway,
don't do it. Find aliens.
No,
anyway.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
Well, you can't see anything, can you? There's
no
black. I don't know.
I can't imagine light, even bringing light down with you. You can't extend more than a few yards in front.
That's right. Yeah.
No, I can't. No.
Do we know whether those people actually saw the Titanic? Did they get there?
Don't know.
They were, from what I understand, they were short about 1,600 feet.
Bummer.
So they probably didn't.
Apparently, some fish, like you go down to this like halfway level, which is called the midnight level or something. It's before it gets, or the twilight level or something. And because of the wavelength of light, fish down there are like coloured red, so you can't see them.
Really?
They're red, but you can't see them.
Yeah,
wow.
It's just bonkers. And then when you go all the way down, it's like they're phosphorant. Sorry, and so they make
some of them supply their own light. Yeah,
bonkers stuff.
Which is
it is
wow. And
bonkers like Super Dinosaur.
Bonkers.
Look at
that. Now that
it looks like he's got Space Ghost armbands.
Yeah, that is a bloody comic.
Oh, there we go.
That is a comic. I love the fact they've given him big arms. These little ones don't work.
Oh, awesome.
Jason Howard, who actually lives locally here, or did last time I knew. Doesn't live too far away from here.
You gotta love that.
Did the artwork there. The Robert Kirkman did the writing. Probably some of the most original writing he's ever done. And most imaginative. It's about a dinosaur who is super, and the little kid that created him.
Oh, look at that Kirby crackle there.
Nice.
How much better is that than bloody Dinosaur Justice League?
Oh,
yeah.
Seriously, sort yourselves out, DC. Dinosaur Justice League. Go away. Go away and don't come back until you got a better idea.
Look at that. Beautiful. Man. Beautiful.
Whereas this is brilliant.
I think the only thing that hinders this, I think, is the muddy coloring.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I don't like about it, but it's really imaginative. It's a lot of fun. A couple of kids, a super dinosaur, their dad going off on crazy adventures.
Love it.
That sounds like that should have been a Hanna-Barbera cartoon in the
60s.
I'm sure that they were pitching it that way, and it just never quite made it.
Look at that face bottom right, that lizard guy. Look at that.
Nice.
Lizard people.
That has just a touch of a design quality to it that you'd see from Frank Sirocco.
Yeah, and Jason Howard is really an underrated artist. He did Wolfman as well with Image.
Simple lines.
He's got
really
a
nicely
great
done.
Yeah, he's got a great command of lines. Just beautiful.
Fabulous.
And who's
does he do his own colors?
Beautiful work. I'm not sure. Let me check. It's created by them. No, yeah. Jason Howard's attributed to the colors too. Well,
wow.
Because I find if you do your own cut, so for instance, he's got like simple colors going on there, but they're put together really well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And I found that on the lovely. I found that on the Only Death Can Save Us stuff I was doing, is that I could do simpler inks because I knew what I was going to do with the colors.
Yeah.
You know, and it all kind of came together. Whereas the Cull stuff I'm doing now, or the Doctor Who stuff I did recently, I'm not doing the colors myself. So I'm going to make sure that the details in there, and especially for Cull because it's black and white.
That's their next title, by the way. Super Dinosaur Duck.
Oh, nice.
But that's great. It's just lovely.
That's fabulous, isn't it?
Wow.
It's great stuff. Very unusual.
Speaking about oddball stuff, the comic book I'm working on here, I'm going to toot my own horn a little bit. Here's the rough. It's in the works, but here's the rough layout, and I just got back from the artist.
Oh, it's the zombies in the stocks.
Yeah. So you got like the Empire here is basically using the undead as part of their like natural resources and stuff. And it's like, you know, I got some comedic elements like in the writing and stuff. Like one of the opening lines for the comic book is that you get used to the smell. So like it tells the story of like I guess several different people in basically an expansionist empire that is under the thrall of, or you know, control of like undead lich wizards or undead wizards. And it's a lot of fun. You can see like the artwork here is it's just a rough layout. We're gonna get to the real pages in later on, but
cool.
Very cool.
A little bit odd.
Back in the day, zombie books were odd as well.
Yeah.
Like
hello, all you awesome people. Hello, Dave. Genuine Comics. Hi, guys. Absurdity. Basil Wolverton. Anything by him. Absolutely.
King of absurd.
Should pull out my Space Hawk collection and show that. I've got that back there. HR.
Puffin stuff.
So, folks, nice. Yeah.
You know,
thanks for watching.
A bizarre moment for me in high school when, you know, you have acne problems, you know, in high school and such. And, you know, I broke out like everybody else. And I remember making a comment to friends that I felt like I was becoming a Basil Wolverton drawing. And it just went right over their heads. They had no idea what I'm talking about.
Yep.
They went, what are you talking about, Spotty? Get stuffed.
Exactly.
Look at some clearer.
Last episode or so ago, we were talking absurd. Here's Zippy the Pinhead.
Oh, that's weird.
Zippy stories.
Are we having fun yet?
Are we having fun yet? Zippy the Pinhead in his first collection, New Origin of Zippy. Wow. It's actually got a comic stories of Zippy. Bill Griffith.
Oh no, Zippy's freaking me out.
Doing greatness here.
No panel borders. Love it.
Absurdity at its finest.
Man.
And of course, Happy Frogs.
Oh Jesus.
Ribbit.
Oh yeah, Zippy he freaked me out. I mean,
started out as an underground comic for quite a while, and then King Features Syndicate actually picked it up as a regular comic strip. It's still going to this day.
Is it really?
It is.
You're kidding.
Here's Zippy meets Ziggy.
Oh God! Post nasal letdown. Right. I think I must be in the wrong industry.
Heads.
Oh no!
Oh my God!
That's too close.
Wow. Really crazy esoteric humor. Yeah. Some great stuff. Looks like Zippy by R. Crumb there.
Wow.
Almost.
Wow. Yeah.
That's amazing that it's running as a syndicated strip. That is
still today, even under today's humor. I'm not sure what his syndication numbers are, but it's still out there. You still see collections coming out. 1 or 2 a month. I bought some from him not a year or so ago. He kicks them out in regular sets. I also have a copy of this.
And he's the one doing it still. He does that.
Yeah. This is from Slave Labor Graphics. This was quite a hit for a little while. It's a property called let me blow that up here. Johnny, the Homicidal Maniac.
Oh, I've heard of this before. It was very
traumatized thy name. Sorry, whiskey. Go ahead. Sorry.
A lot of the girls when I was in like late, or I guess the last couple of years of high school were very much into that stuff.
Wow.
Very Edward Gorey influence, I think.
Did you avoid them, whiskey?
Well, no, like during the time, like all the girls were into that, like a gothic,
very goth,
stuff. Like they were like, every one of them had like a backpack with like some kind of patch on it from Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right? Yeah.
My daughter's still a big Nightmare Before Christmas fan.
Oh God, yeah, that's got an eternal following.
A lot of reading, a lot of oppression, a lot of angst, a lot of goth in it. Yeah.
That opening page with that phrase, "Traumatize thy neighbor," that sounds like a bizarro world version of the Ten Commandments.
Yeah. Well, he had another property based on this kid that I liked a lot. That his kid's name is Squee.
Squee?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Squee. And he would have Satan in his closet, demons under his bed. He's a completely over traumatized kid.
Oh man.
But yeah, that was Johann Vasquez, who went on to do Invader Zim.
No relation.
No, none.
It's got, to me, it's got that line work. It looks like Mouse.
Yeah, in a way.
The quality, the black and white line,
Yeah, I can see where you'd pull that in. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like
Destroy.
That's fantastic, though, isn't it? I love that.
Yeah, that does have an Invader Zim feel to it too.
Well, it's the same guy, very tight.
Oh, same guy.
Yeah.
Didn't he?
I got to meet.
Away?
I don't think so. Not that I'm aware of.
But
I met him. I met him at a San Diego con. Had him do a sketch in my book, and he goes. And I asked him, "Can I get a quick sketch from you? Big fan and love Johnny and Squee." And he said, "Oh yeah, sure." And he takes the sketchbook, opens it up, pulls out a magic marker, and just plops it on the page and looks at me and draws Squee while he's talking to me. How you doing? You liking the con? You doing okay? Yeah. How's that going? And I'm like, nice. and it was beautiful. It's right in the same style and everything. Just amazing.
That's awesome.
Just a great piece. Great guy.
Now, speaking of great artists, I want to backtrack a little bit, and this is sacrilegious. I understand, especially coming from me. But Brian Boland, I think, is probably a better artist than even Neil Adams. Now, I mean that in terms of a craftsmanship and drawing ability.
Mm-hmm.
Neil still has the top rating in terms of a innovative storyteller. But in terms of pure drawing quality,
I'm sorry, I'd have to agree.
I agree.
I've never seen a bad Brian Boland drawing.
The way I totally agree. The way I would see that, forget the storytelling and comics. Talk about the style. Yeah. To me, Brian Boland is an illustrator.
Yes.
Neil Adams is a designer. Designer.
Yep.
Oh, sure.
He would do the kind of thing that Russ and I have done. Neil Adams all the time, probably a bit better than we do.
And Kirby is a dynamic sequential artist.
Yes.
Just like Eisner, he's a sequential artist.
I told you that when I was working on photo shoots, I used to do drawings for covers for the stuff we were doing the brochure for and all that. Mm-hmm. And I would come up with concepts, and they would. I'm not saying they look like anything like Neil Adams' work, but they would be very rough. And Russ has done this as well. But but also at the same in my career, I do illustration, and it's tighter, more like Boland. Not as good as that, but there's a difference. And to me, Neil Adams would be a designer, and Boland would be an illustrator. So that's what I see about it.
I just find it. I mean, it just every time I see a Brian Boland drawing, I literally get almost hypnotized by it.
Yeah,
it is so strong and so incredibly almost perfect in its craftsmanship.
Every time he does something, you become more and more impressed.
Yeah.
It's just incredible.
Holy crap!
Matter of fact, I remember Bolin did a story in I think an annual or something, and it had Batman, Green Arrow, and Black Canary in it. And the splash page, I swore that had to be Neil Adams, but it was Bolin all the way, and it was just stunning stuff.
If you look back at his older work, for instance, there's a Judge Dredd strip where they're doing the Olympics on the moon, and and if you compare that to, I don't know, the Judge Death strip, you can see where he improves. You can actively see it, but damn, not much. So damn good, so good. I got last one, which is quite weird.
You do know this is your fourth last one, Russ.
Yeah, I know. I keep thinking of, I keep thinking of stuff and going back to the well.
Childhood is hell.
Childhood is hell.
Matt Groening.
Groening. Yeah, you're just like, whoa.
That's some great esoteric pre-Simpson stuff there.
Yeah.
Groening. He was.
So you got all the characters. Got Binky, Bongo, Sheba, Akbar, and Jeff, brothers, lovers, or both. We don't know.
Sure.
That just brilliant. Akbar and Jeff are great.
Yeah,
and he'll do things like
that was all over in alternative newspapers for quite many. I'm not even sure if it's still coming out.
It's like do stuff like this. Is like, where's Wally? There's Akbar and Jeff are in the middle there. That's right.
Wow. You know, Groening. I remember he was saying one time years and years ago, he doesn't bemoan his success with The Simpsons, certainly, but he always hoped that. That strip,
Childhood is hell. Yeah.
He
always kind of hoped that would be the thing that would.
I think we all do that, don't we? We all wish that the other piece that wasn't as successful was the better known. I think we all do that.
I haven't got anything that's that successful, so I don't know.
Yeah. I found that it's always the work that you hate the most that you sign the most.
Maybe. Yeah.
Because I've had people bring stuff up to me and I'm like, okay, I did it.
I don't go to conventions anymore. There's no.
I don't.
And speaking of conventions, that is why I have not been on the with you guys for so many weeks now, because I'm knee deep in conventions. It's just
good though.
Oh yeah, it's just got back from North Carolina Heroes Con, which is the most amazing show.
Did you do real good there?
Oh yeah. It was amazing. I mean, the audience there. It's the purest comic book show.
Yes, in the country, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, and the artist alley is amazing. I mean, they're literally. If you go to any con, you have an artist alley, and you might have 20, 30, maybe 40 artists in the artist alley if it's really good. Heroes Con literally has several hundred artists in it, and it's the who's who. I mean, you had everybody. Oh, it was just, oh God, it was amazing.
Didn't they say that so many people have been pulling out of Comic-Con?
That happens every year now.
This year it's like Sony are out, Marvel aren't going.
It's become like a status symbol now not to do the show.
And now lots of actors won't be going as well. Yeah. I'm hoping for the time when it will go back to being comics.
Maybe we all can go and get a free table.
No, that's not the way that works. But I haven't been there. I haven't been there since literally 20 years. 20 years. I was there. The last time I was there was 2003 when I was gophering for Bernie Wrightson.
Oh.
And it was a literal madhouse. That's why I was there. I was running interference and I was showing off original artwork, keeping an eye on the originals to make sure they weren't, disappearing off the tables, because it was literally 20 minutes to walk from one end of the hall to the next if you didn't stop. And that's walking as fast as you could and bobbing and weaving around people.
Man, oh man.
So I would go get him coffee or get him whatever, and half of the time I was there, I was allowed to go around and show off my own stuff. But I got to meet through Bernie a lot of really famous people.
Oh God, I bet.
That would all come up and say hello and shake his hand and that kind of thing. And just it was just a great time. But it was a solid madhouse, and the logistics of getting in and out of that place, the unions had such a tight hold on the procedure that it was absolutely ridiculous. They literally gave you an 8.5 by 11 sheet that's completely detailed on how you are to act loading and unloading. And if you were to deviate from that, you were causing problems.
Oh my God.
And you will do this, you will do that, you will we had to unload. We weren't even able to unload at the table. We had to unload on a pallet that was provided by the union. We had a specific number in our package that had the table number listed on it. We had to shrink wrap the pallet so nothing dropped or fell off, and then apply the number to it. And if it was applied correctly and everything was wrapped up right, then the union person would come with a forklift, lift it up, take it to our table, and drop it off.
Wow.
But we had to not just pack the truck, we had to pack the pallets actually, and then unpack them when they were dropped off at the table. But the union was there every step of the way in between.
Wow.
It was insane.
I don't go to conventions anymore. I don't get invited.
And that was 20 years ago. So now it's got to be 3 times as crazy.
Oh my God,
I don't get invited anyway because nobody knows who I am. So, and there's no point in, like, you turn up and you pay however much money it is for a table, plus you know, if you've got to get a hotel room and all the rest of it, you turn up at Artist Alley and there's, like, you know, Mike Collins or Brian Bolland or whoever it might be down the other end, and you're thinking, well, I ain't going to sell anything.
Well, and the convention
those guys
center,
are there, do you know what I mean? So it's just not worth paying for the table anymore. Yeah. Certainly from my perspective, nobody's got a clue who I am anyway. And you don't get invited because nobody's got a clue who you are. So it's like, I'll stay at home and draw instead.
The convention center is a half a mile long.
Oh God!
And it's if you can imagine, the main show floor was 5 aisles deep, 40 aisles wide.
Good Lord!
How many aisles?
5 aisles deep, 40 aisles wide.
Oh, Jesus!
So, and plus the second story had all of the conference rooms. Half of it was conference rooms, and the other half was Artist Alley.
Man, on the second floor.
On the second floor, literally a madhouse. Yeah.
Wow.
And you were wall-to-wall people the whole time. So, you know, during the pandemic, it had to have just been a no for so many. Plus, now they're at the point now where they keep count of how many tickets they sell. The fire marshal is right there to make sure that only a certain amount of people are let in at a time. And they sell out unbelievably quickly, or they always have in the past. Plus, the hotel rooms are gone in about 15 minutes. Oh, and all the hotels open up their rooms at a specific time, right at a you know, it's almost like they all stand there with a stopwatch, and then they let everybody in, and it's all filled up within 15 minutes.
Well, I foresee it's going to get a lot easier in the next couple of years because, I think the cinema is going away.
The thing that really started it was Lucas brought Star Wars people to the fans back in '77. That's what started the shows being media shows in the first place.
Well, that's true.
It built out from there and then just exploded once Hollywood realized, oh, that's how you make money, is by showing this stuff off early at shows or at conventions. Boom, everybody crowded into San Diego. And they've tried to build a big show a number of times over in Vegas, and they just can't do it.
Yeah, I know I've read several promoters, you know, they talk about how big the space is in San Diego. Yeah. And some of these Vegas promoters saying, I got space twice that size in Vegas, which I can believe. You know, some of those hotels and casinos.
And of course,
you can't put a regular show in Vegas because Vegas is its own entity.
Then you got to fill it up with the actor zoo so that people can come in and get photographs and get signatures from the actors.
New Orleans is the same way. You can't do a show in New Orleans because New Orleans is its own show.
Oh yeah.
There's just so much going on down there, and so much, you know, everybody wants to go to Bourbon Street. Yeah. I did one show in New Orleans before Katrina hit, and the high point of the show was Bourbon Street.
Oh yeah. You can't compete. You really can't.
The last convention I went to was in London. I don't know whether Russ went to those about 10 years ago.
Or the LCSSs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
12 years ago.
I was at a couple of them.
Yeah, I was doing Crikey at the time, and it was just a total waste of time and money.
Really?
Yeah. Fortunately, I was there and got paid to be there.
Right.
Because I was with Marcosia at the time.
Cool.
And I was launching books, so they kind of helped me out and what have you. But no, if I'd have been there on my own,
that's Marcosia though. They're great people.
Oh yeah.
But Harry Marcos is good. Yeah.
Is there a any kind of a theory as to why the movie people are backing out of San Diego?
Money,
because they're not making money anymore.
Everybody's poor now. Yeah.
Oh.
You've got these large movie houses that have lost hundreds of millions of dollars off of this so-called woke material.
When you turn up,
driving everybody crazy.
When you turn up with the best superhero film in history, only get 55 million on a 3-day weekend. Something's going wrong.
Yeah,
you know, just the bottom line is just they're not making money. They're not making good films anymore. It's like, oh, people are tired of superheroes. No, people are tired of bad writing.
The theaters have never really recovered from the pandemic, and they probably never will.
Oh, well, you say that, but if they'd have had decent films, they would. It didn't stop Tom Cruise, did it?
That's very true, but that was kind of a phenomenon when people wanted desperately to get out of their house.
And it didn't stop Mario recently, which I think apart from Frozen 2 is the highest grossing animated movie ever.
Yeah.
Oh, the Mario Brothers movie.
The Mario Brothers.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it's absolutely huge. Universal are absolutely raking it in at the moment.
Oh,
apparently,
they're doing
it looks
huge
like they
right
may well overtake Disney on the parks as well.
You know, they're gonna end up buying a bunch of stuff here in the near future. So.
Well, Nintendo they're the Nintendo.
Universal.
Mario is the next Mickey Mouse. He's like that's it now. Nintendo, because you've got Gen Xers, you've got the Gen Xers kids, and they all know who Mario is. Yep. Even if you didn't have a Nintendo, your mate had one. You know what I mean? It's like, and Mickey Mouse has now become a logo, a brand. Mickey Mouse isn't a character anymore, and Mario's got that. It's a character and a brand, and it's like, I think that's so. I think the next big set of films it's going to be basically Nintendo. They're the people that are going to make a big score. But
Red Dress says my last guest just got back from Heroes Con. They said they had a great time.
Yeah, but the superhero movies they're not done because they're superhero movies. They're done because they're just not very good at it.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a bunch of movies like Sonic and Mario and a bunch of other video game stuff from the early 90s and
if they're done well. If they're done well.
Again, if they're done well. But I mean, look at what happened with Sonic. They brought out this awful Sonic, the version of Sonic, the look of the character, and the fan base went, "Wow, back the truck up! That's awful." Okay,
and they fixed it,
and they fixed it, and they made a bucket load of money. Okay, and there was plenty of press that were like, "Oh, you can't give in to fan service." Like, yeah, you can, because they pay your wages.
I was going to say,
that's exactly right. That's how you make your money. That's why
like the horse that feeds you, or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a good decision to revamp that. And my son's a big Sonic fan, and he loved it. He loved the second one as well.
And you sit here and you slap your forehead whenever you hear these Marvel writers boasting that they never read the material.
Yeah,
that they were told not to read the material. It's like, well, you've lost already. You've lost.
Yeah. Good night. It's all over.
They just released a new Sonic game that's very much like the classical one. With updated graphics, but it looks really fun. And they got another a Mario game coming down the pipe too, as well.
That's the whole idea.
There's about, I think there's about 7 or 8 Mario products being pumped out by Nintendo this year.
Yeah.
Wow. And they're just like, well, Mario's doing it. Let's go. They know exactly what they're doing. Those guys.
Yeah.
Nintendo, they've always been harsh in business.
Could you pull that last comment up? The last one that came up.
Give me a second.
Well, we just need to get rid of all the prudes in the end.
Wow, that sounds like a pretty cool place to go as a guest. Probably all kinds of creators to meet.
That is very true. I can attest to that. Alan Davis was there. Bill Stout, Mark Schultz, Tom DeFalco.
Oh, let's drop some names. Fantastic.
Unbelievable. I'm just in awe.
And that's because Heroes Con has been dedicated to comics this entire time.
I wish we had
They hardly stray from that.
I wish we had something like that over here, because the LCSs and the MCMs over here, they're like I say, they're just actor zoos, and all about films and games and stuff. And the comics aspect is very small in it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you got to give. I think is it Gilbert Sheldon that runs that Heroes Con, something like that.
Gilbert Sheldon was the guy who created Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers.
Oh no, okay.
Dave Sheridan.
I can't remember.
That's a whole nother book for a whole nother. That's a whole nother topic. The Undergrounds.
Yeah. But anyway, the folks behind Heroes Con, you got to give them kudos for staying true to that vision of being a pure comic show.
Yeah.
Definitely,
absolutely
unbelievable.
Yep.
And you can see how it's huge, and it's you could have shows like that all over the country if you just had people that are willing to to stick to their guns about it. And it's just amazing, just amazing.
Before we go, I got one more absurd comic that I want to point out to folks. That's it's pretty big here for the oddball, the folks that love black humor here in the Midwest. That's dark humor.
Spank the Monkey.
That's a lot of fun to read by a guy I consider to be one of the true geniuses in comics at the moment.
Spank the Monkey.
That practically nobody's heard of. It's called Arsenic Lullaby.
Oh,
Kirby.
wow.
Arsenic Lullaby by Doug Paskowitz. Doug Paskowitz, incredibly inventive. The artwork's a little rustic. He does his own lettering by hand.
Oh, no kidding! Wow.
The artwork's a little rustic, but the stories and the writing is unbelievable. The craziest stuff that you could ever imagine. He has stories about this guy here is Voodoo Joe. He's a guy who got cursed while he was in Africa. He got cursed by an African witch doctor and had an African mask transfused to his face. And he's in severe pain unless he can cause somebody else severe pain.
Wow.
They've got mattresses.
Oh my God.
Live mattresses. He's got live donuts running around. They're pissed at the Klan. That's why they're there.
Oh geez.
The Klan's all dressed up in their sheets. They're out to take their revenge.
Oh my God.
They're stealing all their sheets. He's got a tooth fairy that's moonlights as a Grim Reaper in order to make ends meet.
Oh my God.
Voodoo, of course, has to have minions to follow him. So he ends up.
When was that? When did that come out, Randy?
This is the 90s and 2000s here. This is the first volume collected, and it was 99, 2000, 2005.
So it's collected. So it was original.
Yeah. He does floppies. He did floppies for a long time and sold them at shows. And then because Diamond wouldn't look at this stuff, he's had some stuff printed in Mad Magazine before they stopped doing original material.
That story sounds,
because he's that ingenious.
Sounds like The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy.
I'm not sure who that is.
That's probably one of the finest cartoons of all time.
Okay. Well, he's got there's a government office of things not yet tried.
Right.
That he's got in here, that they keep file cabinets of different combinations of things because all of the best advances in science have all come from accidents.
Right.
So they go through and they try all these obscure different things to see what the results are.
It was the Tooth Fairy that doubled as the Grim Reaper. That that was reminiscent of that kind of kind of thing.
That idea from
one
or the other. Yeah.
Why we didn't? That's why I was asking the date, because it sounds like that was maybe before.
So anyway, he needs this Voodoo Joe needs minions, so he ends up going to the local. And sorry for it suddenly becoming adult here. Goes to the local abortion clinic and knocks into the trash bin, and wakes up a bunch of.
I know this story now.
Anyway,
it looks like that arsenic, and it looks like that cover is a little play off of the Watchmen cover.
Probably is
bloody symbol.
It looks like the Kirby opening to the Silver Surfer graphic novel. Where he's coming out of the hand.
Yeah, it's true.
Funnily enough,
but it's great, ingenious stuff. It's right up there with just super inventive. They've got a couple of census men, or there's a girl in there too, that have to make sure that the latest census is accurate, and that means that every time there's a birth and not a death, something has to happen. So the numbers have to come out right. So they do all sorts of strange, crazy adventures. But yeah, he was doing floppies for a while. Then he did collection books with all the floppy material, and now he's doing kind of prestige format type of book. He does a couple of them a year still. Last time I knew, and sets up at shows and sells them. Oh. I'm not sure if Diamond takes them or not, but yeah.
So saying, funnily enough, over on Facebook, Mike Manley was having the same kind of comments we were just having.
Yeah.
Having a San Diego Comic Con about just comics. What a novel idea. Reduce the crowd of non-comics folks by 50% would mean a better experience for just about everyone. And he said it was a better experience before the movie studios blew it up.
Yeah, because 20 years ago it was crazy madhouse, and there were movie people there, but they weren't taking it. There were a lot of TVs. You didn't have the genre entertainment that you've got now. I mean, the level of it's just ramped up because that's where the money is, or was at least. All right, folks, want to tell you thanks a lot for listening. We're gonna go around the room and tell you where different folks can be found, and
I've got something here for Glenn. There you go, Glenn.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So that's an homage to that image. Yeah.
That's how you do a proper knee right there.
Yeah, that's a proper knee. Yeah,
real knees. Yeah,
real knees.
That's awesome.
Sweet.
And again, what we were talking about earlier about having less line work, because I knew what I was going to do with the color and how, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Because obviously that's completely different to the stuff I'm doing for color at the moment. Or sorry, the Shadow Kingdom.
Cool.
Right.
Nice. Yeah. Great stuff. Whiskey, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter or ArtStation, and through the ArtStation, you can take a look at some of the stuff that we have for 3D models and development some of the 3D models we have in development for. If I could speak properly today, we have a game in development, a tabletop war game, and we have some 3D models here that are posted that are part of the upcoming work. In addition to that, we're working on a comic book in that same universe. Let's see if I can find it. That's not it. This is it here.
Okay.
So that's the zombies and so on and so forth. And basically you can find me on Twitter at @Ricochet, and if you need something made like a miniature or 3D model, like I can hook you up, and just send me a message and we'll get you sorted out there.
All right.
That's one of the
Very
characters.
cool.
Scott, tell folks how they can find you.
Nobody can find me.
Nobody can find you.
I'll find you.
I'm here every single Sunday, regardless. I'm actually,
whether you see him or not, folks, he's here.
I'm here in spirit. I'm actually hanging out my Facebook page for the most part. But if you're to any conventions this year, like in Lansing, Michigan, or in Chicago or Toronto, actually, I'll be hanging about those places. But normally, I'm usually on Facebook, and hit me up there. You'll find some fun stuff, hopefully.
Cool. Yeah, Lansing never got back to me. I offered. I told him I'd love to do the show, and I could run a couple panels and teach a little bit of cartooning. Yeah, we'll get right back to you. Nothing.
Oh,
so, I won't be in
I'll
Lansing.
raise hell for you.
My next show isn't until I'm doing a show in Hartford, Michigan, a library show.
Oh wow!
For a few hours.
Nice.
There, that's almost in your backyard.
My next show is on
next Friday.
Who knows?
Syllables.
Who knows?
Next Friday, we'll be here.
Probably never.
I'll be at the really
Scott
cool
Roswell.
Comic-Con in August. Scott will be there. That's here in Flint, Michigan.
He won't turn up.
Oh no, I haven't heard from them.
Really, you need to get a hold of him.
Let's take bets.
I'm sure you're invited back. He's got a lot of space, from what I understand. So.
Yeah,
space. And for Glenn, we didn't even get to talk about your uncle, Uncle Reed Fleming.
Oh,
Reed
the
Fleming.
world's toughest milkman.
Listen,
Look at him. He looks a bit like Glenn.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He looks just like me. Look at that. Eh? I make something. I make
Come on, then. Do you want to fight about it?
That's not me. I don't fight.
It's the world's toughest milkman.
but I bet you deliver milk like nobody else.
They were really close to having a movie made of that with Jack Nicholson in the lead.
Oh God!
People used to say I look like Jack Nicholson. They did. They did.
Russ, tell folks how they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me in the pages of Hero Time Presents Batman. In fact, it's Batman magazine over in Europe currently. I'm in a current Doctor Who magazine. I'm in a special for Doomsday, 16-page special. You can also find me in the pages of Only Death Can Save Us. There's the originals that you can still get on my website, which I'll tell you in a minute, or you can go and get the edited versions from New Haven, Viking Press, over on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or any good bookshop online. You can find out all about me and all my social media links, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that kind of stuff from russleach.com. Go check me out on Instagram. I'll drop a piece of art there once every day. That'll be the brand new art or archived. You can pick me up on Comic Book Black Belt, the YouTube channel, or you can just go find out stuff. They've got merch over on my website, russleach.com, and you can find all the links that I've just said. You can get it all there over at russleach.com.
Sweet. Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
Usually on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those usual social media things. You can find me on Amazon, all my books and magazines there. I've got 11 published books on there, the latest of which is this details my trip to see Jack Kirby at his house in 1988 and 91. This is published by New Haven now. There's also a DVD that goes with it, but you can only get that through me, so hit me up if you want a copy of the DVD. It shows me talking with Jack in the studio for about 45 minutes or so. As I showed before, the second issue of my comic book character Hatch is coming out via New Haven again, and that's coming out in the summer. And I also publish Comics Unlimited, which is a 100-page magazine about comics, articles, interviews. Randy's been in it, Russ has been in it. Scott Rosemer probably won't be because he won't finish an article in time. But I'd love to have him in. Issue 13 is coming soon with a tribute to John Romita, of which I'm doing a portrait of him for the cover. You can watch out for that.
Cool.
Yeah, just I'm all over the place. Just Google my name and you'll get there.
Folks, I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find me at arrowstore.com. You can't find me there. That's been running this whole time. That's funny. It's arrowcomics.store. That's what I get for typing when I'm half awake. Let me switch that around as we speak here.
More coffee, more typing.
More typing, less coffee. No, more coffee. Anyway.
Rabbit season.
Yes. Rabbit season.
Remember, folks,
Rabbit
mistakes are the best part.
Duck season. Rabbit season.
You can find me at arrowcomics.store, where you can find such books as Hero Bot Zero. That's Watchmen. Wait, no. Hero Bot Zero. The 3-foot-tall giant robot defending his city from large monster. Issue 2 has got a cover by Mr. Scott Rosemont.
Oh,
right there, and colored by the great
Glenn. Who needs?
We are also Paragon, superhero story I'm incredible that I'm greatly proud of. Calico of Shard, which is a fantasy epic story about a young cat, a elf who likes to collect things, a female centaur warrior, a barbarian fairy, and an old wizard who are all trying to put their world back together again. Plus Revolt, which is a great anthology story. I've got a few stories in. Glenn's got a story in it. Russ will have a story in issue 2 that if it's not available now, it'll be available up there at arrowcomics.store shortly. Plus, I have right now, if you go over for a very, very, very limited time now over at fundmycomics.com, you can get in on The Fool, #1. As we bring that book out.
What you talking about, Fool?
Yeah, exactly. That's part of the second bundle of the Arrow comics available on a lot of the other campaigns. It's the adventures of a crazy guy who dresses up in a odd outfit, fights urban street crime using practical joke weapons and a great sense of timing.
That is just a beautiful coloring on that.
Yes, yeah, that colors on that are by Patrick Gamma. Yeah, he did a great job.
I just love those buildings.
The artwork's by Chris Tyson. Yeah, just really great stuff.
Lovely.
It's a lot of fun. It's a great one-shot action-packed adventure story with a bit of humor in it, and hopefully to keep you entertained. Plus, we'll be starting another project, or I've got another project already underway that's being colored by Patrick right now that's completely different from The Fool, that has to do with a young girl being born out of a test tube that can shoot chains with hooks out of the palms of her hand. So there's the cover for that one. A bit horrific, a lot of fun. That'll be an Arrow 3G book, and the title for that is Alice in Chains.
I love it, Alice in Chains.
So make sure you look out for that. We'll be running a campaign for that shortly. But
awesome.
You were saying something, Whiskey?
I was saying it like the band.
Oh, not spelt like the band though. No. But just the artwork on that is great. The pencils on this was done by Abdul Rashid, who's gone on to do a lot of stuff. Well, a bit of stuff for Marvel Digital. The ink work on this is all me, and the coloring work is Patrick. So, and the story and the character are mine. So it's a lot of fun. It's a good story. It's a little gory, but it's got a lot of strategic nudity in it. So great shadow work by Abdul, and it just looks. It's turning out looking incredibly great. So I can't recommend it to you enough.
It's a page from Cole for you.
That should be available here within the next month or so. But right now, go in and get on The Fool from funmycomic.com. It's only going to be up there for a limited time now. Just really wanted to raise a little bit of money for Patrick and to get the coloring underway and get the book printed and have it out there available for folks. And can't wait for folks to see it and read it. That's The Fool over on funmycomic.com. So.
Awesome.
You can find us next on Friday mornings on Comics by Night, 5 a.m. on the Indie Comics Network, as we're still covering Watchmen. We're up to issue 9. Issue 9.
Oh, getting close.
Oh, is it issue 8?
Issue 8. We're on issue 8. We just
we're on issue 9 next week, aren't we?
Issue 9. We've got 4 left.
Glenn's confusing me now.
Yeah, we've got 4 left.
We're on issue 9. We're on issue. Oh, okay. I should have known. We're on issue 9 of the Watchmen. So
there's
going through that
page there from our story, Randy. Just flash it up quick. What page there from our Robert E. Howard.
And Russ is working on this when he can.
Look
at that.
Nice.
Let me blow that up here. Boom.
Come on.
Oh, Russ, that's all you, right?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Oh, that is beautiful.
Can't go wrong with that.
Nope.
Coming on.
Oh, man.
It's going to be great.
Good job on the horses. Those are extremely hard to draw.
Reference. We all love reference.
Oh, sure.
Make sure you know what a horse looks like. It's like they could end up looking a bit naggy.
They're adapting the first recognized sword and sorcery story. At least American sword and sorcery story ever printed by Robert E. Howard.
Yeah.
Called The Shadow Kingdom.
Russ, are you going to be inking it?
Yeah. Good. Well, there you go. This is just an ink test, so it'll be something along the lines of like this, that kind of thing.
Like a line and wash.
Yeah, line and wash. There you go.
Okay.
Great stuff.
Gotcha. Beautiful.
All right. We need to run. I'm hearing the granddaughter upstairs. We've got plans for the afternoon. So
okay.
With the daughter and that.
I have my morning Pegasus coffee.
We'll see everybody soon. We'll be back next Sunday, 9 a.m. Indie Comics Network, right here, talking about something else or a lot of different things, probably. So, knowing how our conversation runs, we'll see you then.
Comics by Night on Friday.
Real quick, do you guys still do the Wednesday night thing?
No.
Oh, not anymore. Okay.
Not anymore. Though I've been asked a couple times if I'm going to be bringing that back anytime soon, and I just don't have any plans on it. These morning shows are a lot of fun, even though nobody can attend them live unless they live in a different time zone or they're just crazy enough to get up at 5 a.m. So or 9 a.m. But
true.
We appreciate everybody for watching, everybody for listening to us. We're archived over on the Indie Comics Network, which is where we get the majority of our listeners now after we've already cut this live. So deeply appreciate everybody from a desk of a small press publisher. Joe, we don't hear from you very often. Says, no, thank you for doing the show. Thank you, Joe, very much. Thanks for listening in. Deeply appreciate you all. We want you to take care. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.
Cheers.
See ya. Das Vidania.
Take care.
The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors. Have a question or comment for us to address on the show? Have a topic you want us to talk about? Email us at indiecomicsnetwork@gmail.com. Want your comics to arrive in pristine condition? Head over to GeminiComicSupply.com and save 10% on your next Gemini mailer order or anything in the Gemini Comics Supply store. Use coupon code RAGIN10. That's RAGIN 10.
Arrow Comics is proud to present to you the fast-paced vigilante justice as only... what is this guy dressed as? This is the Fool. This is the Fool from Arrow Comics, with great artwork by Chris Tyson, colors by Patrick Gamma, written and created by Randy Zimmerman. This guy runs around the city using practical joke weapons to fight crime, and the cops just want to get him off the street before he hurts somebody. You need to read this book. Available in its own individual campaign or part of Arrow Bundle number 2. Arrow Bundle number 1 is also available with the Fool campaign over at funmycomic.com. Check it out. The name Jack Kirby is pretty much synonymous with comic book art. The man was and is a legend, not only because he was one of the principal architects of the Marvel Universe and the co-creator of Captain America, the Fantastic Four, Thor, Iron Man, the X-Men, the Hulk, and the Silver Surfer, amongst many others, or because he was the originator of the epic Fourth World saga, which gave DC Comics such an endearing villain as the diabolical Darkseid. But because, well, he was there pretty much at the beginning, back in the earliest days of the American comics industry. The importance of his contributions to the development of the fledgling industry cannot be overstated. He may not have created it single-handedly, but he was certainly one of the reasons it took off the way it did, and a multitude of books have been written about the man and his life. But this one is different. This is the story of Jack Kirby, the man and his life, but it's also the story of its author, Glenn B. Fleming, an artist whose own life and work has been shaped by Kirby, and of how he met him and what happened when he did. It is an intensely personal account of one man's quest to come to know his hero, and along the way, through a fascinating mix of anecdotes, personal photographs, and correspondence, it sheds new light on the man justifiably known as the King of Comics. And now, all this can be shared with the world in this book, propagated by New Haven Publishing and available in all leading bookstores throughout the world. Come along for the ride. You'll be glad you did. It's an epic journey. And
there you go.
Again, everybody, thanks for tuning in.
What a great ad that was.
A bullshit?